everybody. How's everybody doing out there tonight?
Hey.
This is LJ.
And Josh Johnson.
And we are down the rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole.
Woo!
Down the rabbit hole.
The great part about Down the Rabbit Hole is we've got some wonderful marketing ideas that we had a little pre-production meeting.
Right. More to come.
So just wicked ideas, and the Luck Junkie items are on their way. So I'm really excited about that. So we'll have some really cool, badass shirts for both. And so I guess that's our shameless plug right out of the gate.
Right out of there. You got it away.
Well, hell yeah. And, one of the things is that we need to say where we're at. We're in Washington State. We've got this great little studio area in your house. Absolutely cool. What a great setup.
Best buds from long ago.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's for the audience that doesn't know us. And right now, that's
everybody.
That's everybody. So, we've known each other for 26 years.
Yeah, about that.
About 26 years.
Yeah.
And there was a time where we were both doing our own thing and both experimented around with the entertainment world. And I guess we're still doing that right now.
Yeah, I guess we just got to keep it going.
It's just like a big social experiment for me. It has to be. It's just the way it is. I definitely I need to do a shout out to all the other podcasters out there that inspired me, and to you for saying, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to do this? So very cool, and I feel honored and pleasured. Please,
well,
I'm pleasured.
That's later.
It's pleasing.
Later.
Yes, I'll pleasure myself later. See, Down the Rabbit Hole.
Down the rabbit hole. And another big shout out to the Flying Mammals for our intro.
Oh, God, are those guys not wicked?
Wicked.
I mean, it's
Who says wicked anymore?
I say wicked. I mean, come on. It's if I'm gonna wear my hair like 1992,
It's almost Halloween. We'll just keep it a theme.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. That is a wicked idea. So, Aaron and his brothers. I haven't met his brothers yet. The Flying Mammals. They are. These guys are. They're professionals. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, it was cool to work with them. It's the first time I've ever done anything like that. It was cool.
I have to say that they did such a great job. They spent time out of their everyday recording, and they're touring to make our intro. And we're gonna have them on the show here in the future.
For sure.
But huge shout out for them because
and a big thanks. That was amazing.
It's so cool, and we're gonna bring in different aspects of who we are as we go on with other podcasts. So this is just a taster of what we're gonna do. And Down the Rabbit Hole really it's about
whatever you feel like.
That's the perfect way to say it. It's whatever the fuck we want.
There you go.
And we might get off on some tangents because it seems like as some people will tell you, I'm a little ADHD, so I may be all over the place, just maybe a little.
Well, and there's been some, wine,
beverages.
I'm
just drinking tea.
Right.
It's just tea. And
special blend.
Speaking of the tea, did interesting fact, because I am the guru of stupid information. Did you know Jack Daniels actually died because he kicked his safe and his toe got infected, and that's what he died from?
Holy shit! What must have been before medicine was?
It's I don't know when Jack Daniels, but it was in Lynchburg.
I'm sure the date's right on it.
Yeah, and that's just a little hint. I'm not shaking hands with Jack. I'm not drinking Jack's poison here, but it's something in the same family. So it's quite good. It's starting to be winter here in Washington State.
Gotta keep it warm.
And Washington State, as many people would know, following the news, has passed a law last November on making marijuana legal
for recreational use.
Recreational, so like Amsterdam style.
Yeah, right.
And I have to say that weird way that we can create some industry in the state. And we know the job market's down. I was just looking at it, and there's a lot of talking heads out there that are constantly talking about unemployment rates and what the true percentage is and all that bullshit. But what I can say is, if you've watched the regular news, it's shitty. And
yeah, right. There's no question.
There's no question. So this being a new industry that comes to the state, but it opens up to a lot of interesting issues.
Yeah, right. And we'll get into that because we just went to a meeting today.
Yeah, it's a meeting. It sounds like we went maybe
Well, not like
this
an
we need to
AA.
go AA.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking,
Well, what do you call it? Was more of a forum.
yeah, I
like that better.
I'm on the step before the first step, and so
13th step.
The third. yeah, exactly.
Back to square one.
Yeah, if you do too much of it, you find Jacob's ladder too. But anyways, I go totally off the subject of recreational marijuana in the state of Washington.
Right.
And the meeting today was interesting.
Well, right. I mean, the purpose was to lay out the process for getting the licenses for anybody that wants to work in the industry. So it was a liquor control board. You know.
So for our listeners that don't know, Liquor Control Board, just like they regulate our alcohol, Washington State Liquor Control Board now regulates, and this is funny to say, regulate recreational marijuana.
It was so strange seeing all those like finely dressed, uptight people just talking freely about
I was uncomfortable. I have to say there was a few moments where I was sitting there going, God. And then when the news team came in, and we're merely there trying to gather information so we can come back and
report
and talk about it. It was our first reporting our outing.
Right.
And I think when the news camera came in, I was trying to hide my face a little much. I don't want people to think that we were there for anything more than gathering information.
Right.
And
just curiosity. I mean, morbid curiosity. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, this is a whole new. It's like the Wild West, sort of. It's.
But if we go back and we talk about prohibition,
right?
And
we're ending prohibition right now.
Absolutely,
I mean, right here.
Oh my God, the life system was shaped. People said that when prohibition happened, that businesses of course went broke and then it went underground. Well, we also saw a huge surge when prohibition came back or was released and alcohol was then legal again. These families that stayed in the business became multi-gazillionaires.
Right. Kennedys, right? I mean, that's their whole shtick, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, it's Joe Kennedy. He was a bootlegger, and they were able to finance, and his dad did the dirty work. So I would have to say on a intellectual and ballsy president. He's one of our best we've ever had. I don't cow down to the D or the R or the B or the C or the G or whatever the hell they're trying to sell.
The politicians, I don't know. You can have them.
Yeah, and speaking about that, just the fact that I mentioned that, I feel that that's necessary. And that's bullshit, because when we're talking about subjects and you bring up politics, I instantly feel like that I have to say, you know what, it's not political lines, it's actually subject matter. It's It's what it is, and I've got a minor in political science, so it's like, for me, I look at it as a big science project, but I still feel it's necessary to say, hey, I don't want to exclude anybody, because I don't exclude anybody when I go to the ballots.
Right.
And especially
no judgment.
No judgment. It's all about principle. It's all about person. And when it comes back to it, this marijuana issue, or this marijuana release of prohibition, is
revolution.
It's played right into the political mainstream talking points. And hell, I know that right now the federal government is saying that they're going to stand down, but I'm very interested to see on what do we got, 3 years left of this presidency, and what 3 years is going to do. We have what did they say in the meeting today? Another year probably before there's some good solid product, or 6 months before people start selling it.
Well, right. I mean, because the industry's just starting, and so they're going to have, it's 3-tiered system, right? You've got your growers, your I can never remember the second one. It's the processors, the growers, the processors, and then your retailers. And don't remember where I was going with that.
Oh, well, that sorry, clear my throat in the mic. Really, that on the political and how it's changed in revolution, and you were talking about the 3-tiered system.
Right.
All right. So, we merely talk. We merely talk about weed, and we have memory lapse. Isn't that great?
Contact eye.
Yeah. It's just whiskey right now.
Anyway,
but on the political scene, I have to say that there's been a lot of posturing on this subject, and I find it very interesting because the amount of money that the state's going to bring in.
Colorado, I heard a radio show about Colorado, and they've been raking it in, and the politicians love it. They love it.
At what point does a failing government system of financials come back around to $1.2 billion from one state in the first year of sales?
It had to happen. I mean, it had to happen. There's so much money. It's ridiculous.
Well, we have got countries in Europe that, I mean, we can just say Amsterdam. I mean, we don't have to go much further than that. That actually, I mean, their industry supports tourism and it supports all this stuff.
But not anymore. Did you hear that they?
No.
It's my understanding that tourists are no longer able to partake. If you're local, if you're a citizen, then you can, but they don't want to encourage the tourist industry.
Wow. Okay, now,
which kind of opens it up for us.
That's what I was just thinking. It's like how amazing is it that it happens to happen then, and now we have the potential.
At least I heard that. I heard that secondhand. So don't take that to the bank. We should probably look it up.
Well, yeah, but we know that sanctions came down.
Right.
Vice.com, you turned me on to that.
Right.
Watch some different documentaries. And for anybody out there that's into documentaries, I have to tell you, I'm such a geek because as soon as Josh told me about Vice.com, I got on there and started watching, and I probably have watched, I don't know, Chernobyl hunting mutant animals. I mean, the guy that thinks he's Jesus in Russia. I mean, it goes on and on. The chick that was, tortured with LSD.
Yeah, right.
And still in love with the dude.
Lived in a missile silo.
Yeah, I mean, and she had peacocks walking through her. It's just trippy, weird stuff. But those guys have the balls to go there and do it, which mainstream media does not.
And actually, they have a show on HBO now. Like they
really,
yeah, they've gone.
Wow,
yeah.
That's pretty fucking mainstream if you ask me. Holy shit!
But it's just I think this is the first year, like his first couple of seasons.
Well, that tells you that I don't have HBO.
Yeah, I don't either. But I found the website through Joe Rogan's talking about it on his podcast.
Wow! And for any of you that are new to podcasts, and I know that a few of my fans, a few of the people that follow what I'm doing as a chef has actually not known about podcasts. And I'm
surprised how many people don't know.
Yeah, this is still a pretty new thing. We're talking what, 5 years is all this has been really going around, where we're talking radio goes back for almost a century.
I guess that's a good point.
And so this is a new genre, and I can't say we're trailblazers, but we're definitely following along the trail that others before us. And Joe Rogan,
the trail that's been blazed, for sure.
Joe Rogan's one, I think he's 7 in the country right now.
But like him and Kevin Smith and Mark Maron and Adam Carolla.
Adam Carolla, yeah, these are all guys that are stand-up comedians and have been in the industry and different parts of the entertainment industry, and I think they're parts that we both appreciate and have seen, but we have a different spin on it. So I think that's where we're going to be different there.
Well, right. We all have our own perspective. And I love listening to Kevin Smith. He always is encouraging people to go out and just get your ideas out there, get them on the web, just get them out there.
Another great documentary, Too Fat for 40 with Kevin Smith. You can get it on Netflix. Okay. Folks, we don't have any sponsors. Luck Junkie and Rabbit Hole are our closest ones. So when we're mentioning stuff, it doesn't mean, go out there and buy it because we approve it or they approve of us, because I highly doubt they'd approve of us.
Just recommending things that I find interesting.
Oh, hell yeah. This is one of those places that we can do that.
Yeah.
And Kevin Smith, unbelievable. That guy's busted his balls.
Oh my God,
in
he's
Hollywood.
such a hustler. That man is a hustler,
and he's good. I have not listened to it, but you keep telling me about Fat Man on Batman.
Yeah, it's great.
I listened to Smodcast.
Babylon is the best one.
Yeah, that's great. It's brilliant. And and speaking of weed, it's like, how does that go back to weed? Well, Kevin Smith, who didn't start smoking weed until later in life.
Yeah, those late 30s.
Yeah, he had made Zach and Mary make a porn, and he talks about it. Too Fat for 40. That was like the first time. Well, the second time he tried it. The second time for the first time? I don't know. However that works.
Right around now.
It was like the first time he tried it for the second time. And anyways, so he talks about that on there. And for somebody that came up in industry and played a character like Silent Bob, you'd think that he was into weed.
Yeah, right. He was on High Times. I remember I listened to him one time. He said the High Times came to him. They wanted to do a photo shoot with him, and they tried to give him all this weed, and he's like, I don't smoke.
Really, it's funny because I as most people assumed that due to his character and his ability to write,
he was a drug dealer in the movie.
yeah, he was a total pothead. But for somebody that didn't talk in his own movies except for one, maybe two lines, he is a talkity motherfucker.
Oh my God, he never shuts up.
Oh,
it's great.
I love it. Well, like I can relate or something.
You're definitely right in there.
Yeah, well, it's those of us that have nothing to say that keep saying it all. But the whole weed thing and close that out is we're going to keep reporting on this because I find it very interesting as a social
as it
experiment.
develops. I mean, really, it's going to be fascinating to see where it goes. Already, I drove by a Chevron down the street and they had cannabis power drinks like prominently displayed on the counter.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it have cannabis?
I didn't pick it up and look at it, but it's advertised. I mean, it had a big pot leaf on it and it said cannabis power drink.
And that's still weird. I mean, I gotta say, and when we left the meeting, Josh and I are walking out to the car. I'm setting the scene for y'all. We come out of the meeting, and there's two guys that were in the meeting that left right before us.
Just happened to park next to each other.
Yeah, and they're out smoking a joint. And I mean, this is 3:00 in the afternoon, right downtown.
Yeah,
I was blown away. I mean, I was like scared for them. I mean,
didn't even notice. You noticed. I was just like, oh, those guys look like they're smoking. I didn't even fucking phase me.
I really thought the smell I was smelling was because they talked about it so much. I was like, oh my God, I can smell weed. And I think it was in my mind. But then we walked out and literally they were smoking.
They were passing a spliff.
It was. It was crazy. But I think this has got some major levels to go.
Well, I'm really curious to see where it's going to go. I mean, it's fascinating. What a fascinating time to be here, just to watch how this all is going to transpire.
Shit. And I've had people text me and say, "Hey, is pot really legal out there?" And yeah, it is. And people can't believe it across the country.
Yeah.
But interesting fact that they put a max level of what you can grow a year in Washington State
total.
And you can have up to 30,000 square feet of canopy.
Right, of canopy. Right.
So, folks,
was it 2 million? 2 million?
1.4.
What was the total square footage? 2 million square feet? 20? What was the square footage for I don't remember. 2 million, 20 million, something like that? Square feet for total for the state?
Yeah, I think it's 22 million.
They're trying to cap it. They're trying to keep it from getting out of control, and they're trying to control so that nobody gets a monopoly. They're taking all these weird steps to make it was really interesting listening to them because there's a lot that I didn't even think about. I mean, you think about the legalization, and there's it's a new industry.
Well, think of all the canine dogs that now are not going to be effective.
Well, I heard that they're using them for something else. I wish I could remember.
For what? Rabbit tricks? Jumping through the hoops. I mean, I was at a school for my big boy job, and cops came in and searched all the lockers.
Really?
And yeah, and this was recently, like this week.
I haven't been in a school in a long time.
Yeah. And what was really weird is I expect them to come in with canines. They didn't. That's not what they were looking for. And though they couldn't tell me, of course, what they're looking for, I asked somebody, what's the issue? And they're no longer looking at pot as an issue, but it's like drinking now. If you're under 21, you can't do it. But
don't do it while you're driving if they get you driving.
Well, and that's a really big that's huge because what they're going to do is a blood test, and that's not something you can say, hey, wait, we got an oil-based substance and it's going to be in there for I don't know how long. I mean, I guess it depends on your usage, right?
Right.
So. And then they can do the hair follicle thing. I mean, they could get really shitty with it.
I heard there's all sorts of weird technologies coming out. There was one I heard that there's because like you said, like the oils, like the fingerprint test, like a
really,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I've heard that. Again, this is all fucking secondhand random shit that I might have heard. So, don't take it to the bank. We are down the rabbit hole.
I mean, but that's interesting because now let's see. There's some synchronicity between Apple's new iPhone S with the thumbprint.
Yeah, and I won't touch that fucker.
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to either.
So, yeah, somebody heard somebody say, oh, yeah, now Apple's got the largest database of fingerprints in the world.
Unbelievable. And I just read a thing that said the NSA monitored 1.2 billion. Is it? I got to make sure this is right because it sounds ridiculous coming out of my my mouth. But they literally, as I say, literally one more time because I can't frickin' find it. See, I'm used to doing regular radio. You see, I went back to frick. I really tried hard to swear a couple times just to open it up.
Prime it. Got to prime that.
Prime it. But then I go back to frickin' heck and gosh gee. That's for all our people out there that oh my God, the number just got it up here. NSA recorded 124 billion phone calls in 1 month.
What are they going to do with all that?
And
how many people could there possibly be listening? So you know what I mean. So
what the hell do they have to say? I mean,
it's so funny. I'm just like, fuck. Turn my fucking computer camera on and watch me jack off. You know what I mean? Like,
if they want to see that,
right.
Go for it.
More power to you.
Well, it's like I always get in line at the airport, and I've been flying a lot recently, and I go into the scatter test. I don't care if I'm a little cold that day or I'm hanging low or whatever. I go in and I let them do. If they want to look at this fat boy through his clothes, great, fucking do it. I don't care, but I can see. I mean, I can see where that would be really an issue for people.
Yeah, my old grandma got groped.
Oh,
really? Yeah, fuck. It was like, it's just fucking retarded. Just do some. Sorry, retarded isn't good. I shouldn't say
that. That's probably worse than any swear words. Probably.
Yeah, probably. Sorry, I apologize. I retract.
You know what? If we haven't pissed off our listening audience by now,
yeah, right.
They're gonna either listen or not. And so if you're still out there, hey, thank you. If you're not, well, here's to me and here's to you and. I don't know. Fuck off. So, anyways, I want to reference this to the Washington Free Beacon. This isn't off some bizarre site that is some fringe site. This is off the Washington Free Beacon. NSA spied on 124 billion phone calls in 1 month. It was written by Adam Credo. That's Kredo. It was just posted today at 3:10. So hot off the presses.
Huh.
And it's just absolutely unbelievable. 30-day period this year, including around 3 billion calls from the U.S. From the U.S., 3 billion of those. So I don't know how many phone calls are even made in a day.
We just want to piss the whole world off. Like, we just want to piss everybody off.
I really don't understand it. I don't get it. Shit. It frustrates the hell out of me.
It should.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. And the fact of the matter is that we have a bunch of politicians that are completely bought and paid for. I mean, we got another initiative. We talked about the pot initiative. We have another one right now that's coming out about labeling of GMOs.
I was actually wanting to ask you about that because you, I bet, have an interesting perspective on it. Because I've been seeing all sorts of interesting commercials about how it seems like it's a cool deal, but it's actually kind of a sneaky. They had the same problem in California, didn't they?
Yeah, and I don't know how much it's alike of the two, but they have similarities. One of the big things that, these fuckers, I don't bash on very many companies because if you come in this country at any point within your family and you immigrated here and you've made a living and you are trying to better your family and your life and it just happens to become a multi-billion-dollar company, great, amazing. I know a self-made billionaire, probably the most humble human I've ever met on the planet. And so I preference this statement that on the I-522 is the initiative in Washington State for GMOs and the labeling of GMOs. And the argument is, and I'm going to read this right off their site, 522 would burden farmers. Let me start over. Quote, 522 would burden farmers, food processors, and grocers with more red tape and higher production costs. These added costs would be passed on to Washington consumers through higher food prices. You talk about some fear-mongering right there. I mean, that's fear-mongering because when you're talking and you're looking at me like, what, how? And
No, I get it. That's it.
It's-
That's all. Hit people in their wallet. You know what I mean? You know, that's where, especially like we were just talking about. You know, the economy fucking sucks. Nobody wants any food to get more expensive.
No, it's like, and I have to say, as having a small farm, and I have nothing compared to the people that are going to really be.
But it's such a cool little farm.
Oh, well, thank
It's so
you.
great.
It's you know, we're going to keep growing it because I believe in the.
I've been eating so much better since I reconnected.
Well, you know, the thing is that I think this is why 522 really speaks to me, and is that it's so important. And I work with, you know, Wholesome Foods on consulting on that. Right now, as we're sitting here, I got a text from my executive producer about a food documentary about food lines and how California has created this not only acceptance but a complete embrace of organic and healthier foods, whole grains, and you know, it's always California that's the first on.
Right, they do set a lot of standards.
You've lived there. I've spent a lot of time there. It's something that when you're there, you get immersed in that, and I think it's really cool. But 522 is supported. The no I-522 is supported by Monsanto.
Okay.
Monsatan.
Well, of course they're gonna.
And that's it. And they put a lot of money in it. I mean, there's a commercial every.
I'm telling you, Hulu. I have Hulu, and it's because I haven't had cable television in, I don't know, 15 years. You know, ever since I got a decent internet connection and figured out how to surf the web, I didn't need it anymore. I hate commercials, but you know, I do the Hulu thing, and they throw some commercials in periodically. And
Hulu is a NBC Universal product.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know who the.
I don't know why that just.
I'm not sure.
Clicked in my brain.
I'm not sure. That's something we'd have to look up. But anyways, they do periodically put a couple of commercials in on shows, and they've been pumping this no on 522.
I think that's the part that really made
That
me
there's
look
political commercials on. That's interesting. How did I think about that?
Yeah, it's very interesting. And okay, so this is information I can't confirm yet, and this is something I want to research. But Monsanto has, you know, and they probably got some black freaking SUV sitting out front right now. Now that we're talking about them, we've been recorded saying that, you know, it sucks that they fucked with our food and played God and patented.
There you go.
I haven't even had that much whiskey. I better have some more.
Loosen up, brother.
That they've patented life with the help of Clarence Thomas, one of our Supreme Court justices. I mean, that's pretty fucked up. But anyways, I'm not going to rehash and go through all the history part because most of our audience, I hope, would have done a little bit of or heard some of it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's great documentaries,
bit.
Food Inc., there's Ingredients, which I've got to meet some of the people from those shows. And
really?
Yeah. I had dinner in Vegas a couple months ago and was with, I want to say Farmer Fred. I've got his picture. We should post it on there and show. He's from Ingredients. He's got a red bow
I've never
tie.
heard of Ingredients.
Oh, it's okay. Food Inc. appeals to the side of me that likes the production value. Ingredients appealed to me as a person that loves food, that invests time and energy into not only making it but growing it and preserving it and all those things. That a hobby that I get to live very well on. But this I-522 is really, really interesting to me, and I have to say that I don't have to even say how I voted. I recently voted on this. I got to do it a little early due to I've done the absentee ballot,
right?
And you know, and I like that because I don't feel pressured, and I always get my vote in. And
I always get my ballot in the mail. I thought Washington did it that way.
Oh, is that wrong? Where it is now?
I don't know.
See, I'm
not sure. I was in Florida for a long time.
You know what? I think you're right.
And
I think
gotta
now
tell you,
it is.
I really, really like it that way because I can sit down with my voter's pamphlet.
Yep.
And
That's
the
what I do.
ballot, and I just go through. You know what I mean? When I had to go in and like poke the holes, like I don't know, I didn't vote on a lot of things because I just wasn't informed.
Right.
You know, and I still don't vote on things that I don't know anything about. But it's
usually,
nice to be able to sit there with your pamphlet and go through the ballot. It's the way to go.
If I don't know the person and I can't get any information from that, the information I can find, and if I really dive deep in it, I'll Google and see. See if they got some politicians got some nudie pictures out there or something. Yeah,
Anthony Weiner's of the world.
Jesus. But I have to say that I love that ability to be able to look at it and really make a good sound decision.
Right.
And if I don't know, I usually write myself in.
Oh.
I have been on
every time I don't know, I'm going to write you in too.
Yeah, I always just put LJ Clink and I vote for the write-in, and then at one time I had like 7-8 people vote for me for something.
Well, you got 9.
Yeah, I wasn't even running, and I probably got more votes than one of the parties. It was just like
awesome.
And so, anyways, I would appreciate your vote. I always thought I wanted.
When in doubt, vote LJ.
Yeah, when in doubt, vote LJ. Just write an LJ Clank for whatever it is. I promise you that
Class president,
whatever class. Yeah. All of you out there that are listening that are still in high school, you know what? This will probably be right up your alley because we haven't fucking changed from high school. But
go fall right back into that shit, don't we?
But the voting, as we digress,
right? We're in the rabbit hole.
Okay,
now you know what? Disclaimer: we're going to be all over the place because we're in the rabbit hole. So,
and as you can tell, our rabbit hole is dead sexy. The red curtains, and you got artwork coming too. I can't wait. So the show's developing. So keep watching or listening or whatever the hell.
Right.
So
both, preferably both,
preferably
if you can.
Both. Yeah. Stitcher, we
got to figure that out. That's something I gotta figure out.
We'll get Stitcher figured out because that for me, I've logged on in the last 2 months.
It's the greatest app.
97 hours. Have you looked at your hours?
Oh no, you can check them out.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, I would.
Oh yeah. So,
I honestly I use that app more than 1,000 times more than I've used any other app ever. It's great.
I think
Bluetooth it in my car. I put my phone in my pocket. I get in my car. It automatically reads the last podcast that I had on, and it just starts playing. It's just
that's magic. I get in my car and put my headphones on. Yeah, in Washington that's legal because you have to have to talk on the phone.
Really?
Yeah, you can't be talking on your phone. You get a ticket for that.
Huh.
So we've become a state of rules though, even though we've legalized marijuana.
Well, right.
And so I don't. There's a lot of hypocrisy there, but anyways,
it's still pretty damn cool. They legalize weed, man. That's pretty damn cool. I don't know.
It's amazing. So we go back to 522. Now, if they have to mark that, does that mean that these weed producers, since this is consumed, do they have to label their products now?
Oh man. Well.
It's an agricultural business.
Okay, well, I don't know what the initiative is saying. So is it saying that everyone that grows an agricultural product has to label their product, or is it that only GMO products have to label their products?
Well, let's get exactly. And I'm reading on the No site, so
yeah. I don't know. Again, all I've seen, and I'm always skeptical of the commercials that I see the most of.
Yep.
Whoever's spending the most money, I'm always kind of skeptical.
Oh, me too.
Like they really want to get their point across.
Yep. Brainwash.
Right.
Really eat our food that's going to give you, 3 nipples.
Oh, and it's just such a racket. Buy the seeds from them, buy the fertilizer from them. You can't reuse their seeds, it's just...
and I live...
that's life. That has been the cycle of life. It's disrupting the cycle of life. I'm sorry, man.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I hate that they've messed with it.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm going into some Darwinism or something or some creationism.
I want everybody to eat. I had no problem with, trying to better the world. I got no problem with that.
God bless the people out there that have been trying to produce inexpensive food so people can eat.
Good food, good healthy food.
But statistically speaking, I was just at a small farm conference, which I was really into, but the listeners would be bored as hell if I went into all the different stuff. Maybe not.
No,
Maybe we
you'd
could
be
touch on
surprised,
it.
man. I don't know. I think that's
When we get
fascinating.
closer, since we just are wrapping up season right now, I still have like right around 300 potato plants in the ground.
Okay.
So
Oh wow, the potatoes haven't come out yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
man, I can't wait.
so they've got to come out in the next week. But I've been letting them. I just been letting them stay because I want them to have a little bit of that sweetness they get from being in the ground when it gets cold. But that whole non-GMO, GMO, messing with it, I don't know. I have serious issue, and it's not because they patented life. And I said that earlier, and it made it sound like, oh yeah, it's
Well, it's really turning it into a commodity, right? Like,
life into a commodity.
Right.
They take a commodity, which is life, and then turn it into something that is almost worthless.
something that naturally would cycle by itself, and then stopping that cycle so that you have to, and adding themselves as a middleman to, I don't know. It just seems so.
It's very sci-fi.
And just like, God, just horrible. I mean, I can't imagine how. I get it. I guess if you're a stockholder, if your focus is the money, then I can see the rationale. But
People do a lot of shitty stuff for a lot of money.
I guess that's a good point. I guess I shouldn't be too fucking surprised.
But
But it is our food. It's one of our most basic fucking, which is another reason why not fucking exploit it, because everybody needs it.
Well, and there's reports of Nestle now going into other countries, and Nestle is like, being in the chef world and being in the world of certified chefs, which is a whole nother show all in itself. The chefs that are usually certified, most of them are corporate chefs.
Uh-huh.
And if chefs are listening out there, they'd be, it's because he's not knocking down, 6+ figures a year cooking, in some lab kitchen. And I would have to say I tried a gig like that, and I lasted for about 18, 19 months. And I felt that I thought I was doing a disjustice to nature and to my fellow chefs. I really did. And so, and I wasn't in a flavor plant or a flavor where they're taking chemicals that taste like smoke and put it into your chicken.
Right.
I was actually just in a small little lab kitchen, that was just one of my duties. But there were some aspects of it that made me
feel a
little creepy. Yeah. And I felt that I was doing a disjustice. Now, for everybody out there that's doing it and feels good about their job, and maybe they get to drive a Lambo or something, I don't know. But what I can say is when companies like Monsanto and Nestle are going out and using food and water, which I don't even know how to say it, but it's almost like it's isn't it a right as a being on this planet to be stewards of the land? I mean this, I'm going hippy dippy.
No,
here.
you know what? Owning a piece of property, I had that same fucking revelation, man. I had that same revelation. I was like, I got this little piece of property out in BFE in Washington, and a couple of acres, and we got a septic tank and a little orchard, and and it really became like, you really do become the steward of the land. You just want to make your little piece as good as it can be. I actually, one day I went out there, I was like, you know what? This is me down the rabbit hole getting
awesome.
trippy.
I love it.
Trippy down the rabbit hole.
I'm gonna pour a little more whiskey.
All right, do that. I was out there, and I think I was fucking with my septic tank. We were talking about that earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was fucking with my septic
I had a
tank, and I
shitty
was
story
like,
today,
it's a
too.
revelation when you have to start dealing with your own shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, because nobody's going to do it for you. It's not like the city. It wasn't in the city where, okay, you just call the fucking plumber and they come and, you have to start dealing with your own shit. And then I was like, God, I am the steward of this property. Like, if this is going to work, like, I'm going to have to make this work. And then and
what a cool revelation though.
yeah, well, and then this, I figured out the meaning of life.
Holy shit!
And I'm gonna
First
drop it-
episode.
I'm gonna drop
First
it on ya.
episode. Oh my God!
I'm
The
gonna drop it on
meaning
ya.
of life. Can I open my penile gland? Okay, folks. Inside joke. I've been doing research on something.
Which we'll talk about a little later in the show.
But I've been pronouncing it wrong, and I actually actually was like in public and nobody corrected me. Well, with all the love and compassion in his heart, Josh laughed his ass off and just said that I have an addiction to my own dick, and that's why I say penile and not
Pineal.
So you know what?
Easy mistake to make. You know what I mean? It's an easy mistake to make.
I may be a little educated, but I can tell you what,
Everybody loves it.
I'm terrible with that shit. And folks, if I pronounce something wrong, I'm sorry. Send us an email, send us a text.
We love corrections. Send us corrections.
Yeah, and I think at some point we got to do some. We're going to have some guests. We are having guests.
For sure.
We've got guests already lined up.
Absolutely.
But I would like to do like listener emails coming right up, and where it's going to be linked off the Luck Junkie site to start with. I don't know. Foursquare is actually pretty cool. If
we have a website, don't we? Do we know our website?
Yeah, we
or
own
not
it.
the website, but an email address.
Yes.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah,
we'll get.
We have to check. We have
right.
to check with the
We're
producer.
totally unprepared. But anyway.
Well, yeah, it's.
Anyway,
we'll listen. Maybe. Can you
so
put
anyway, the meaning of life.
Can you put it on the bottom of the screen right about here?
Yeah. Maybe I'll see if I'll see what I can do.
So, but you know, I want the information. You know, I want from our audience. I want
feedback.
them to say, "Hey, you guys need to talk about this," or you know what, LJ, all you talk about is politics and all this weird bullshit stuff.
Well, I'll keep you off the politics. I hate fucking talking about politics. I'll sidetrack you. I'll derail you.
Okay, cool. because it's something that weighs heavy on me. So it always comes.
Me
comes
too.
up.
But we talked about it last show. I just feel like it's so hard for me to talk about because I just feel like we're all spoon fed bullshit from every direction, and I don't feel. I don't feel like I have an educated opinion about it. I don't feel qualified to have an opinion on it because I just feel like there's so much bullshit that we're fed.
Well, and and that's really a cool aspect because how many people? I mean, we saw it today in that I-52 meeting. People that come in unprepared and they waste the time of everybody else.
And can I say there was I don't know, man. There was a ragtag group of motherfuckers in there today, man.
You got the people in the nice suits,
but there wasn't that many. There was only a couple. It was mostly like old.
We were dressed really kind of nicer than everybody.
Well, I'm trying to shatter that fucking. I don't want to be the. And it was crazy when I went to get my prescription.
Yeah.
This guy came in and he was opening up a dispensary and he was a super cool guy. He was super nice. He was super personal, and we all he got the whole fucking place talking about pot, and it was great. But he had these big giant plugs in his ears, and he had tats all down his arms, and he just was kind of, and his clothes were kind of funky. And I was just like, the businessman isn't going to feel real comfortable. The soccer mom isn't going to feel real comfortable, dealing with people like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
No, I get exactly what you're talking about, because that is a you can't judge a book by its cover,
right?
And
right.
And I'm I have people. I got searched at Costco recently,
right?
And I was leaving, and I don't know. I spent more time there. I was waiting for somebody to come pick me up. So I spent time, and I guess I look suspect, being a long hair, having a raggedy beard.
Let me just say, I don't have any problem with tattoos and earplugs. I think it's great. Some of my best friends, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying, is like with this burgeoning business opening up, there's going to have to be like Starbucks style stores too, in order to function.
Well, it's a there has been a stereotype that has been has implanted. I mean, from the 50s with what is it?
Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness. Did you see the remake of it?
No.
They did a remake like 5-6 years ago. I caught it on like Lifetime Lifetime channel. Yeah, the Oprah channel's doing Reefer Madness redo part 2. Anyways, I think that's an amazing point that you make, though, that there has been this look of the plugs and the tattoos, and it would send people screaming, at some point in their brain.
I don't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? I've been dealing with people like that for my whole life, but but again, like it is a new business.
We're almost those people, anyways.
We are those people.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't have any plugs, but
I've got both. I'm pierced in both, and
yeah, but
whatever.
That's just that goes back to the same bullshit of judging a book by its cover.
Exactly.
And when I got searched at Costco, I was like, really? I was like, me? I was like, I've got a business account. I'm showing and they're like, yes, sir. We just want, and I admit, I was in Birkenstocks. I was in cargo shorts cut off.
And I've got a buddy that works there, and they search people a lot. Like,
do they?
Yeah.
That was a new thing for me.
Yeah. It's actually, I just was talking to a friend about that recently.
Is that a new thing there?
I don't know. He made it sound like it was sort of standard procedure. They like employees as they come and go. I'm not talking shit, Costco.
No. I actually spend more money than anywhere.
So much money.
It's my favorite store. I can't leave there without spending $100.
Oh, me either. I love that place.
I mean, I was in there 2 days after they searched me. It really bothered me.
Most of my house is furnished with Costco things.
I love the check at the end of the year. I go buy butt wipe, and I get a check and I take that check and I go buy movies or something with it.
Right.
You know, something fun, and it was buying just life. But anyways,
all over the map. I love it.
We're not plugging Costco, but yeah. Costco's cool.
Anyway.
I'm just stating a point. But Josh, back to yours of being able to look at this as a Starbucks style industry. And in Washington State, come on. I mean, Seattle is all about that.
Well, there's going to be room for everybody. Again, I'm so fascinated to see where this is going to go because there's going to be so many different.
Yeah,
I'm so fascinated to see what makes it and what doesn't. You know, and how long this actually can hang on.
Well, people walked out today because they didn't like what the liquor board had to say. I mean, I found that was really interesting.
Yeah, quite a few people left. Well, and honestly, there was a lot fewer people there than I thought would be there. I figured that place would be packed.
Well, that was one of the things that I was thinking that we had to register if we wanted to go see what they were going to talk about. I thought we needed to register early. I mean, we registered a month ago.
Right.
In anticipation of doing the show. And folks, we came pretty much right back here. I had a web thing I had to do.
Right.
But other than that, we came right back and we're talking about it. It's raw in our brain. And I have to say, I am fast. I'm not confused on the law. I get the law more.
Yeah.
And I see that there's more opportunities for people to be successful. I mean, there's somebody that could start a business doing nothing but doing waste removal of spent plants.
Oh, man, I'm telling you what, there is going to be so many interesting niches, you know. One of the things that we were talking about, too, was, nobody will insure any of these people. So if there was an insurance company out there that was willing to insure these new company. I mean, there's going to be so many weird little niches that need filling. I mean, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated to see where this is going to go.
That shows that how
and no banks will deal with them either. No, you know what I mean? So if somebody's willing to open up,
open a bank, store people's money. I mean, holy shit. This is how empires have been made.
Right. And it's going to be fascinating.
It is fascinating because going into that, I was thinking, all right, so we got 3 tiers.
Right.
That's the industry.
Right.
And I left there going, oh my God.
That's just the beginning.
There's so much. When they're talking about waste removal, that whatever product goes out, I immediately said, there can be product that comes off of this. And I almost was giving up our little tidbit of information because, oh my God, you could be like the Bud Busters. You go in, you take all their spent plants, you take them out to the farm. How about this? You have you have your producers that are growing organic stuff. You take to your farm, you feed to your farm animals.
Well, but they said that one of the things that they said was that it has to be destroyed on the premises.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did say that.
Right. So you can't transport it. So I mean,
so you have to have a goat on premise.
Well, or just fertilizer, right? I mean, we talked about turning it into compost. Just turn it into commercial. Or the other thing I was thinking, if you're trimming it or whatever, I've heard a lot of people juicing the leaves. Right, the leaves that you don't use, like that don't have
maybe wasn't that power drink?
Maybe it was. I don't know. No, it could be. It could be. It could be a loose like.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really bizarre.
Yeah,
juicing the leaves and
it's supposed to be really, really good for you.
Well, they have hemp milk,
and if you're not ingesting the THC crystals, it's not. It wouldn't even be very psychoactive. You know what I mean? It would just be. You'd just be getting the.
Would it have any psychoactive?
It would probably have a slight psychoactive.
Interesting
Effect, but it wouldn't be anything like.
Well, I mean, they
where
were
the crystals are, where the trichomes and the
the
crystals.
I'm trying to think of what the street slang sugar leaves.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. Keef.
Is that what Keef?
That's the right.
Okay, see, I'm so good.
There's so much lingo.
And we were talking about this, and I got this article sent to me by a friend, and I'm not gonna give out who it is because
You just don't do
I'm not going to. That's just not cool. But he sent me this great article, and if he's listening, which I'm sure he is, he'll be able to know this is a shout out to him. It's an article stated pot smoking moms tired of being judged by wine drinkers. That's and this is the first whiskey I've had in I don't know weeks because I'm a wino. I mean, I admit that. I mean, I love wine. I try to have a glass of wine every night.
When we got back together, the first time when we saw you at Strider's house, you were coddling this bottle of wine all night long.
He
doesn't hold it like a wine. He says he's a wino. He doesn't hold it like a wino. He holds it like it's a newborn baby. He coddles it in his arm like this.
Years of being serving on the floor of the restaurant. What I loved about this article, being a wino, is that this is a big call out, and it's. And to cite this for all of you that want to look this article up and read it for yourself instead of my little diatribe of synopsis, mjnewsnetwork.com. And it's if you Google pot smoking moms tired of being judged by wine drinkers.
And why wouldn't you?
And I don't know. I guess depending on how much you spend on wine, I bet it would be about the same cost. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember what I think in the meeting they said $120 an ounce wholesale.
Right.
And so I don't know. Is there a conversion for wine to pot fucked upness?
Well, it depends on everybody's got different tolerance for wine and pot. So you know what I mean? Like,
Sure. I wasn't thinking about it. That you keep bringing me into reality. I love it.
Keep you on the level.
I need somebody to. Jeez. So it was an essay that was posted on Jezebel.com, and it was the Groups for Marijuana International that has gotten 18,000 likes on Facebook since. October 11th is when I got the article. So I've been saving it for this show. And I just got to do a quote off this because this is a beautiful thing. So for those of you that just tuning in, this is a pot smoking mom talking to the wine drinking moms. Quote, being judged for doing something non-toxic and totally organic, totally organic, enjoy a God-given plant by moms who suck back 2 bottles of Chardonnay like sports drinks feel like shit, complains Margaret. Any hypocrisy is hard to swallow. A drunk mother is pathetic, and I often leave parties when I experience other mothers tying one on. So I have to admit that after reading the article, as much as I enjoy the premise, she's being no more lenient than
right.
are.
She's just as judgmental as, even more so, maybe.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a little vino,
It's good for your blood. At least that's... Hey.
I mean, again, everybody's got different tolerance, and you can tie one on with anything, you know what I mean? And it's just, judging is just this... fuck them, you know what I mean? I don't understand any of them.
Well, and that's just it. And this show, I mean, hopefully we've set this up so people can know that we're here to talk about information, give information with no judgment.
I have my opinion. Opinions, definitely. I have strong opinions for sure.
But
with no judgment. We're all humans, and I love all team people, like Rogan says. Joe Rogan, team people. I'm all about team people.
And what a refreshing way, because if you turn on the news, which you do. It's not about teen people.
No.
And did that come out as teen people? It's supposed to be team. I kind of slurred there. And I haven't even drank that whiskey I poured in there since I've poured it because I can't shut my mouth. So I'm going to shut my pie hole, put some whiskey in it, and toss it to Josh.
All right. Well, and I'm gonna totally take it, and I'm gonna change the subject here because we're gonna try and do an hour. We're coming up on 55 minutes. So,
wow.
But I don't know. I totally changing the subject to another tier of the rabbit hole here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Both of us recently went and did flotation tanks, sensory deprivation tanks.
Yes.
And we had very different experiences, and you've done it twice. You went and did it again,
Yes.
and you haven't told me about your next experience, and I'm dying to know what happened.
So first, enlighten the audience on it because you enlightened me. So my information comes from you. So
Okay, well, you're going to hear me talk about Joe Rogan a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to lots of podcasts. I don't hardly watch television anymore. I just listen to podcasts pretty much.
Isn't it amazing that we've gone back to like the 30s or 40s whenever like Lone Ranger was on there? I mean, I was thinking about that the other day. Here we're trying to do an information show.
What I love about it is usually, I mean, we're doing a video podcast, you know, but generally they're audio. And I like just being able to put something on in the background and do something else. I don't like sitting down and, you know, and I like to be able to multitask a little and have things in the background.
Sure, that makes sense.
You know?
Well,
and you don't necessarily need to see
That's a
what's
good
going
point.
on a podcast. Usually it's like something like this where two dudes are just sitting across from each other yakking. You know what I mean? So this isn't the most fascinating thing to look at.
No, I think it gives relevance to who we are.
Right. Yeah, it just gives people get a picture. Right.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm at least that's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah, right. It gives me something to do, you know?
So sorry, I took you away.
Anyway.
Explain.
So sensory deprivation tank. What I know about it is I've done it twice. I did it once down in California and once up here, and there were two different style of tanks. The first one I did was it was large, like a meat locker. You kind of like walked into it. You had a door that was as tall as I was, and you walked in, and then the floor has water. It has water with Epsom salt in it, and like 800 pounds of Epsom salt or something like that, so that you are completely buoyant in this water. And they make it the same temperature as your body, and it's a completely dark, no light, as little sound as humanly possible, and the water is the same temperature as your body. So the idea is that you're supposed to lose your senses and just be able to get into your mind. Is sort of the theory behind it, I guess.
And it works.
It's fascinating. So the other one we did, the one that we did together, was a smaller tank. It was more like a.
We didn't do it together.
Well, right. No, we didn't do it together.
It was a really small tank. It was close.
Oh, that was
okay,
Freudian.
folks. You go in butt naked. So if you've done this, you're going, oh my God, we're buddies. But
he went after me, so he was sloppy seconds.
I didn't even think about that. Oh, thanks.
That was a visual for you.
That's funnier than shit. So. Vice.com, which we did a shout out for earlier, has a great. I learned a lot from it. What was it, like 35 minutes?
Yeah.
Brilliant. What's his name? Hamilton
Morris.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia is the name of his show.
And I have, and this, I'm virgin when it comes to psychedelics, with the exception of absinthe, which is arguably like it or not, I don't know. I get a good drunk on it, and I like black licorice. And I like the things you do with it. Like
the ceremony.
Yeah,
right,
the ceremony.
Right,
it's all about the ceremony.
Right.
But I tell you what, I'm as much weirded out as I am excited about being in the tank.
Really? See, that's great because I think we had really, really different experiences. So I really want to know what this last one was like. Okay,
so. With Josh having done it before, you just went in and did it, and I didn't have the ability to do that. I had to have it was such a foreign thing for me, and not the idea, but it was the idea of going to somebody's house that I don't know, getting naked in their basement.
It was a little weird. It was a little weird, but
and climbing into a bathtub.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Can I get in your tub for an hour?
And when she answered the door, I mean, she's a very, very pretty gal.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The whole experience itself was very interesting, though so professional. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, she knows her stuff. I mean, the girl knows her stuff.
She's amazing. And I think later on when we continue on talking about this, because I think this is something that is gonna.
We're both gonna keep doing it. So maybe we'll do like our weekly or monthly tank.
Yeah, and I think
tank trip or whatever.
Tank trip, yeah, and
experience.
We should maybe have her on.
If she would, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, have her at least call in, and we could just have her talk about it.
And I'm mobile. I mean, we could go over there and do it, and just like I could set up before we could float, and then just sit down right after we're done and yak. I don't know, just things to think about.
That's cool.
Anyway, so tell me about your float, man.
Okay, so I go there, and like I said, the first time she helped me get into a meditative state.
Right, because this tank was different than the other one because she has speakers in it. So she can pump music in there, or she has a microphone and she does like guided meditation for you.
It's really, folks, to set the scene how it feels. And I said this to Josh over dinner, and we were eating sushi. So I said it was like being back in the womb.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good way to put it. I never thought about it like that, but I mean, it was very much.
It really
very
it
much
was
like that.
It was. And that was one of my thoughts that came to my mind in the first float. So I went in the second float thinking, all right, my second float's going to be very much like the first float. But when I got there, I don't even the practitioner. I mean, she's a practitioner. She's a healer,
therapist. I think she's a therapist,
healer.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this is
float
ancient.
therapy. I think is
float therapy. Yeah. So she had a plan for me, and I was like, cool, because the first time she set me up and got me in this great place, I'm thinking, okay, here we go. This is going to be like the first time, and I have to say, the first time was life changing. I really, and I don't know how much of it's placebo, how much of it's real. After the first time, I was like, oh, I was just so excited about it. Maybe that's what it is. Second time, I went in with that same excitement, but she had a different plan. And I'm pretty tore up physically. And so her plan was to work on the aches and pains in my body. And having last 23 years being on my feet and having a chef knife in my hand, my hands and elbows and knees and everything, they have some aches and pains.
Yeah.
And so anyways, so her plan was get me in the tank and through that speaker, have me go through this like body checklist of aches and pains.
Wow.
And it's totally funky, totally, it was brilliant, I have to say. And so I got in the tank and I'm sitting there in the speakers there and your head's underwater or your face is out, but you kind of float at halfway in between.
Right.
And so the speaker's underwater and it's like the voice of God. And God's a female for all of you out there. And that probably pissed off a ton of you, but just look around.
Just get in the tank.
Just get in the tank.
You'll meet her.
And so I got in there and she started, getting me into this meditative state. And then she starts talking to me about my ache and pain that was bothering me the most. And that day I took no Tylenol. They have you do no caffeine. They have you eat very light. I mean, I had a hard-boiled egg, a cottage cheese, and I think that was my day.
Right.
And it started at 3:30. So I went in pretty hungry, but when she started doing this mind trick thing, I mean, this is Jedi mind shit, I tell you what, she said, concentrate on the part that's bothering you. So I concentrated on my elbow. And my elbow to my hand. Recently, I got hurt doing a stupid stunt, and I'm still dealing with it. So I'm concentrating on it. I'm like, well, that's a bunch of BS because nothing happened. And so she's like, all right, I'm going to let you float for an hour and a half, and then I'll come back and I'm going to walk you out of it. You won't hear the medicine. You won't hear the music. You will hear my voice and walking you back out of this. And I'm like, okay, great.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was definitely different because when you're in that state, the voice is what you hear. I mean,
and it must sound interesting through the water. It must have an interesting resonance to it.
I can't explain it. It's really,
because she didn't do it for me. Like, she didn't do the guided meditation for me. I just wanted to go in cold and just get into my head. I didn't want her to.
And I didn't think I could do that. And so I think I need her. I mean, I pretty much went in and said, teach me.
Right.
And that kind of opens it up for different things. But I'm sitting there floating in the tank. She leaves me. It's brilliantly quiet.
Right.
It's as dark as it can possibly be. I turn the light off. I turn the heat. They have this thing so you don't get condensation in there that keeps the walls warm.
Right.
I turned that off. So it was really my body temperature, and there was no influence of anything else. And I'm laying there, and I'm going through and my breathing and trying to really get into my head, and I keep going back to what she was telling me about my elbow and my hand. Well, all of a sudden, it felt like I stuck my fingers in a light socket. It was the most excruciating. I almost had to get out of the tank.
Really?
It started in my elbow and went right down to the tips of my fingers, and it felt like an electrical smash is the only way I could explain it. It felt like if they wrapped my arm in like a electricity and put pressure to it with like an electric fence.
Okay.
That's how it felt. I mean, I was grimacing. I mean, my eyes were, I totally thought I was out of my meditated state. I guess I wasn't, because I probably wouldn't have had that happen. And then it did it for probably, time is not there.
Right.
When you're in the tank, it feels like
senses. It's supposed to deprive you of your senses.
It totally
you know what
does.
I mean? That's.
And you know what? Your mind's powerful when it can take over like that.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, you don't think about it. I mean, when you're out in the world, I mean, we're constantly taking in light information, taking
saturated
in touch information, taking in all these taste information all the time. And then you get in the tank, and it removes as many of those things as you can. And so your mind has all this extra space to open up. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It is. And I guess I didn't expect my first experience to be anything more than just an experience, and I got stuff out of it.
Oh, I know, you were really.
I was tripped out.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed up here. I mean, oh my God, I didn't even know how to explain it. It was like a drunk without the negative side of a drunk. You come out like being drunk.
Oh man, and so relaxed. So I've never, you spend an hour. I did an hour and a half. She let me go an hour and a half, and you have no forces on your body. Your body just floats without anything touching it. It's just, you come out of there.
Did you feel yourself like the longer I sat in there, like I could feel like my shoulder would pop. Like almost like a chiropractic. I felt like things like lining up.
Yes, I definitely felt things. I didn't get any pops or anything, but I could mostly as I was relaxing. You know what I mean? You get in there and you're kind of tense, and you don't even realize it. And then you're like, oh fuck, wait, my arm is all. And then you're like, okay, right, relax. And then and different things, and then you just kind of start to. It took me a while. It took me a while to relax, and. Another thing, actually, I just read was reading on Facebook today. Another guy, Aubrey Marcus, that is another podcast guy. He just went and did a float tank, and he was saying that having the neck pillow, the inflatable neck pillow, helped him a lot. Like, because I don't know, like I had a hard time too. Like my neck, laying flat like a board with your neck back. I don't know. It wasn't real comfortable on my neck. It took me a while to get comfortable with my neck being straight like that. So I think if I had a little bit of a neck pillow, I think I'd be able to relax a lot.
She has one there.
Right, I know. I just didn't use it. So next time I'm definitely going to try it.
I want to know how that is because it's interesting.
And it just helps. Anything, it's just when you're in there, you don't want to focus on anything. So if your neck is bugging you, you're focusing on that. And you don't want to do that. You want to be able to have your mind as clear as possible so that whatever can just come in.
So the fact that I am very aware of the hair on my taint is something I should probably take care of.
Maybe trim your taint, dude. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't think it was an issue. I went home and I was like,
were you focusing on your taint in the?
It's just like everything else. It all goes back to my dick. I guess. I don't know. I didn't have any pain there, thank God. But
walk you out of your taint.
You go into the therapist. Next time I want you to keep my thoughts away from my date. That poor girl would be like, "Go away! This is my home."
Right.
She's like cleansing and saging shit. The evil demon. That's the LJ. Oh my God! I keep a little tissue next to us here because I always end up getting tears somehow I always end up laughing my ass off. But no, it was, I have to say, and then my body did this checklist after my arm did its thing. And I was thinking, I went ass to the ground in there. I went to sit up. I was like, I'm getting out. I couldn't handle it. And I think I'm relatively a tough guy. And I really, and then it scared me because I'm like, oh my God, she put the stuff in my brain and now I'm feeling it in my elbow. And then all of a sudden it went from my arm, just when I thought I couldn't handle it, it went to my hip, which is my other big issue. And then my body, and that wasn't as bad, but it did the same thing, but not as long. And then it went to my knee, and that did it just a little bit. And then it went to my ankle. It was like it hit every spot of my body. And it started with what I had the most issue with. And I didn't even know my ankle and my knee were hurting, but I did. It's like it's not as bad as the other thing, so I just don't think about it.
Right. It's not as prevalent.
But it made me like be aware of it. And afterwards, I kind of got out of the tank, and I'm like, I went through, my body did this checklist thing, and she goes, well, yeah, because we hold everything, out in the future, and I'm trying to make this make sense how it is. You hold everything out in front of you, and when you have to bring it in close to you and be aware of it, your body recognizes it. And by taking away, the gravity, by taking away...
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. When you see, you're looking in front of you, right?
That's exactly what she said, looking in front of you.
And if you can't see in front of you, you have to focus on what you have yourself.
Yeah,
that's really fascinating. She had some really interesting insight. She's
totally educated. I am actually very, very impressed with her professionalism.
Me too.
Every aspect of it, because that it could be really sketch. And
it could.
That could be one of those things where you show up. Who knows who's been playing in the pool?
Right.
You climb into the meat brine and soak around in somebody else's pubes for a couple hours.
That's awesome.
It's I don't know. It's not like that at all, though. It's really, really, really cool. And I was sold. I was like, I signed up for three more visits, and I'm doing another one next Monday.
Awesome.
And for me, it's really about I've treated my body like crap, and she kept saying when she brought me out of the meditated state, that was one of the things that she said was that your body's listening now. Say that you're aware of it listening and that you're willing to listen, or something like that.
Wow.
And I was still, it's like being drunk.
It
you can remember it, but it's out there. And I can tell you what, that it really changed my focus and how I looked at things. And I'm hoping that...
Yeah, your wife commented on it.
Did she?
Oh, didn't she? You told me she did. Like she said,
oh, yeah. I thought maybe she said something to you.
No.
Thank you.
You told me. No. You told me.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you said.
Oh, totally. She thinks that I came home. I had the best sleep I've had in I don't know how long. I probably at least a good 10, 15 years.
Wow.
The best sleep. And I was relaxed. I was chill. I wasn't like like, after a massage, sometimes you're just beat up.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, right.
But, you have like 2 days of crap and then you go through the detox. And I had a little detox in the tank both times. First time I had like maybe a 10-minute eyeball headache. And then the second time I had maybe a 30-second eyeball headache. I don't know, maybe a minute. At this point,
it's hard to tell when you're in there.
It was very quick, but I was looking for it. So it was like, oh, there it is. But I think that for people that have acute pain, and now there are some, different tanks do focus on different things. I think that's, and I'm not going to sit here and say I understand.
Yeah, we're both really new.
Yeah, but
they'll keep you updated.
Yeah, I think this is something that is an alternative medicine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something that we're not jamming chemicals down our throat because somebody wants us to get a copay on us.
Right.
And when I say somebody, it's not your local doctor you're dealing with. It's the big pharmaceutical companies. It's all that. And I like a little more control of my life than just doing what everybody else tells me to do. I go figure.
I've never been a herd follower either.
No,
the herd ends up getting slaughtered.
Yeah, there's the Judas cow. I mean, there's the cow that walks you up and it goes out one gate, and all the rest of them go to slaughter. Right. I mean, so for me, my parents would argue and say that it's because I always got to be different or
however you need to rationalize it, right?
Yeah, for me, it's all about if I know what that experience is for that person, what is my experience when I look at it? And the tank, I went in with a bunch of research, and our listeners are going to learn that I am a complete research geek.
It's awesome. It's so good.
I just can't get enough of the information. So when we talked about doing it, that's what I did. So I went in with some thoughts. Was nothing like I expected, and I got way more out of it. So the good sleep, my body felt good. I had about 24 hours both times of being virtually painless.
Wow.
And there's a study,
right?
And I'm gonna let you all know if I get in on the study. Being a researcher myself, I love it when research is out there on things that just happen to be something I'm interested in. So and it's out of Europe, and I'll bring more information to the table later on these floats about the study. But as far as Josh and I mean, we're gonna. I know I'm gonna keep bringing back this stuff because I think it's important that. I think it's really important that as a culture, as a group of people, that we don't eliminate anything or marginalize things and practices. I say things, but practices that have gone on for centuries. And this is something that's not new to the world. It's new to us.
Right.
So I would never have done. I never heard of it until you told me.
It was new to me too. I heard about it down in California when I was living down there, and I really have an appreciation. I just value so highly anything that gives me an alternative perspective. It makes me think a little differently. That's why I like smoking weed. Because I'll be thinking about something one way, and then I'll smoke weed, and it gives me an alternative perspective entirely. And the tank kind of does a similar thing. You come out of there and you just nothing. Exactly, it's never going to go like you think it is. So you have to go. It really is beneficial to go in there with an open mind.
Well, I think you're throwing your money away if you don't.
Oh, absolutely.
It's if you go in there and you fight it.
Yeah.
You're
not gonna get. You're just not gonna get anything out of it.
No, it's kind of like going to prison. You either make somebody your bitch, or you get made a bitch, and you just get it over with right off the bat.
Well, and I mean, it'll be relaxing. I mean, because that's sort of I didn't have the visual experience that you had. I was much more. I think because I did kind of go in with some expectations, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I towards the very end, I really started to loosen up. and I really started to. I think I even fell asleep for a little bit.
So that's cool. I'd like to get to where I'm relaxed enough to fall asleep. I'm not sure that, I mean, I don't sleep in my bed with my white noise maker and meditating and on the special pillow on the special bed. I mean, I have the I can't say I change them all the time, but if I need to, I change the sheets like every other day because I like that crisp sheets. It's a laundry nightmare, and I'm probably, somebody would say I'm killing the planet. At least I'm using, good soap,
There you go.
eco-friendly soap. But I mean, the whole thing is that for me to find some, I don't know, some inner peace. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that was really hard for me to say. It was on my brain. I'm like, yeah. For people that really know me, they know that it's a lot of turmoil. In there. So
Fucking chaos.
So I'm gonna keep bringing back fucking chaos. I would if I was to get a tattoo, and folks, I am totally for tattoos. I'm just so deathly afraid of needles that I can't do it. And not saying I won't, but at this point,
We'll get you in.
I can't get over it right now.
I'll make my mom take you in.
But I don't know. I can't. I can't wrap my brain around it, and I don't know if I ever will be able to. On the whole experience. And I just think it's so cool.
I agree. I couldn't agree more, man. I couldn't agree more. It's a very cool thing, and I definitely want to go back and try it again too.
Well, and changing the subject to finish the show up with, I'm constantly out researching, and down the rabbit hole. We keep, you find one thing, you go on to the next thing, you keep that trend going, and all of a sudden you end up reading some stuff that's a little out there. So this is one of these stories that you think would be way out there, but this is reported by BBC News, U.S. and Canada edition, and this was posted October 22nd. Yesterday, and it's quake rumors over new beached sea serpent in U.S. Okay, so the story is it's the oarfish that it basically swims in the Pacific Ocean. They have them off the coast of California, and what they believe, and they were thought extinct for years. They were seen as sea serpents. Hell, they got huge mouths full of teeth, long serpentine looking. It's just bizarre. But I thought it was very interesting that not only do they call it a sea monster and a sea creature, and they thought it was extinct, and the coelacanth, that could be a whole other show. They found one of those and videotaped it in the depth the camera guys got it, and back in the 40s they were given, I don't know, 40s, 50s, sometime around there, like $50,000 if they found one.
Really?
Yeah. So
See, I've heard the name before, but I don't know what.
It's a fish that its front flippers are like arms. So the idea on a coelacanth is that it is a piece of the evolutionary chain.
Okay, right.
So that's where it was, and they actually it has a joint in its fin, like an arm,
like
so
an elbow or something.
Yeah,
interesting. Huh.
Yeah. Huh. So the oarfish was kind of chalked up with that as it went away, and who knows if there was any more. Some of it they said could have been environmental issues. Some of it could be overfishing, whatever.
So all of a sudden, two of these things just
wash up. 14 foot long, 5 days apart, two of them, which they say are very large specimens. They came washing up on the beach of California. So, the part that is really bizarre is okay, we don't see any of these for decades. Or there's very minimal reports. And of course, now we live in a world of social media. Everybody's got a phone on them at all points. But they got these two specimens out, and science, great, but they died. How did they die? What caused that? Well, it's they're chalking it up to there was an ocean earthquake.
Okay.
And that it kind of threw them off, and it made them come to the surface. And I believe, and I'm sure there's somebody listening right now that is like, "Oh, that's bullshit." But I believe that them being at such depths in the water that they can't come and surface that quick.
Right,
their
right.
bladder would
Right.
their air bladder would burst. So I thought was funny as hell.
That's really interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I thought it was funny as hell as a biologist came out and measured. One was 18 foot, one was 13 foot, and the biologist said it looks good enough to eat. And I thought what a great way to end the rabbit hole was to, talk about the weird things that go on our planet and how
we think we know so fucking much.
The more you know that
you don't know
shit. And so, anyways, with that being said,
thanks for coming down the rabbit hole with us.
Thanks for spending this time with us, folks. We are going to be back with more topics, and please contact us. Give us topics that you want us to talk about.
I'll make sure I get the email up there.
Yeah, and folks, give me homework. I'll do homework.
Yeah, right.
And we'll come back and we'll talk about it, and we'll give our opinion on it. So thanks for listening. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you.